In our first review of Boba Fett, the four of us had some differing opinions. Did our opinions change with the final four episodes? Let's find out. So, welcome to another review from Mediavania. My name is Marty.
And I'm Matt.
I'm Nick.
I'm Derek.
I guess that's Matt underneath the helmet there.
Yeah, I'll take this off, but this is I did have to show off the helmet at first.
Well, yeah,
Obviously, big
because
fans
I
of
mean,
Boba
in
Fett.
the show, Boba didn't even wear the helmet.
Yeah.
Why should you wear it?
You just wore the helmet for longer than
Here, wait. I'll do it. Hang on, but I can do it more like the show does it, where I'll just do it like this.
You just hold it. There you go.
And now
There it
I'm
is.
Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett.
How many times in the show I'm like, dude, it would just be easier to put it on than carry it under your arm the whole
my
time.
God. That drove me every time I saw it under his arm. I was like, I got so mad. I wanted to throw something.
And just like happily gave it away to get clean to that one episode too. I'm like, what are you doing?
So we're going to be discussing in the first time we got together, we discussed the first three episodes. Here we're going to be kind of talking about the series as a whole, maybe with more emphasis on the last four episodes. But before we get started, I just want to put a disclaimer out there to everybody. Here are four people who really enjoy Star Wars. We really enjoy good stories. We enjoy good characters. And just because we all want the same things, we may view stuff differently. And people may have different opinions about this show. For some reason, online, this show has been very divided to where if somebody doesn't agree with you, they're like a hater or a fanboy. It's just a TV show. We're getting together. We're just going to have some fun talking about different things. If somebody doesn't agree with you, it's not a personal attack on you. It's just having a good time talking about a silly TV show. Does that sound cool, guys?
Well said, Marty. Well said.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So, disclaimer out of the way. There's no haters here. We all love
haters,
Star
no.
Wars.
We all love Star Wars.
But we're also critical of things that we love, and that is
We are.
A-okay.
Well,
That is
because you can be critical of a thing that you love. I think that's I think that's fine. You don't, and Star Wars has so much stuff at this point now, right? I mean, there's tons of movies and shows and to like, I mean, it's if you like every single piece of every single thing of Star Wars, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But that doesn't mean that there might not be an episode or a show or maybe even a whole movie that you just didn't like that much. And guess what? It's okay.
Yeah,
it'll be all right. You'll move on and continue to like the fan. The be in the fandom if you wish. But yeah, to what Marty said. Well said, Marty. And let's move on with our review of the Book of Boba Fett, the whole show. That we're wrapping it up. Who wants to start?
Derek.
Yeah, Derek. Welcome back, Derek.
Thank you for having
Derek,
me. It's good to be back.
We really emphasized episodes 1 through 3, and I know we got 4 through 7 coming up. And I think it seems like the general consensus was that a couple of those episodes were pretty flipping amazing. That really kind of brought the show back.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think going past 3, we were, all of us kind of were like, where's the show going, right? Like, what's going to happen? Some of us liked some things better, some didn't. And so I would think we all would agree that there were some very redeeming parts of the later half of the TV show. As a whole, I really enjoyed some of the characters they brought out. Now, this is full spoilers, right? Like, we're doing a review. So
excellent. Yeah, say that.
All spoilers. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
to me, the one of the coolest and biggest reveals in Star Wars in the last while for me was when they brought Cad Bane in.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaked out at the TV when I saw, because like I saw him in the distance.
That's
and I was
silhouette,
like,
right?
That is him. I'm like, no way they're doing this. And my wife was like, what's going on? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool to see him in the universe. And I know some people were kind of like upset that he's probably dead. But him being in the series gives us an opportunity to have like him somewhere else, like pre this show in the timeline, right? Like the fact that he is now canon, do whatever they want.
He is. See, for me, so like I'm gonna kind of come on the other side of this, where I didn't watch Clone Wars or Rebels. I've seen episodes, but I didn't. I'm one of the kind of people who wants to watch every single episode as well, and that's a show I never picked up before. And while I know that the later seasons are very, very good, and does some great stuff story wise, haven't had the time to watch all of them. So Cad Bane, while I knew who he was, he didn't resonate like if I had watched the show, right? So
Sure.
his arc to me was flat. Like, I mean, he came in,
Mhm.
he was cool for an episode, and then he's gone the next episode, and it's like, well, there's a cool character that I feel like they could have done a whole lot more with. I would have loved just on Cad Bane, I would have loved to see them do a 3-episode arc just on Cad Bane, because they did that in this show where they just did whatever the heck they want, and then come back, and do maybe the final episode where, and that might have even made more sense, right? Where we had the Boba Fett episodes, you had like the Mandalorian episodes, and then you had like maybe a few Cad Bane episodes, and then we're like,
Sure.
oh my goodness, now we're at the end and they're all together. I think it made it even 10 episodes, 9 or 10 episodes. That could
Yeah.
have been really awesome.
I agree. Like 2 episodes of like, how did Cad Bane get involved with the Pikes? Like, where did he fit in? Where did he come from? I agree with you at that point. Like, I can definitely see where people would have felt like he's here and he's gone. So, like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know anything about him. So, I think that's totally valid.
What about you, Nick?
For me, I summarized like when I was talking to Marty yesterday. I said I felt like the Book of Boba Fett was deeply mediocre, but it had a couple of really great episodes of The Mandalorian in it.
Yeah, this felt like a side quest for the Mandalorian, right? Like this was just a side quest.
And it's so
Yeah.
interesting that so it's episodes 5 and 6, right? So 5 and 6 don't have Boba at all, and then you got a great, Mandalorian coming in, and he's got the dark saber, and he's going to hook up with the other Mandalorians, and it's the whole, hey, did you take off your helmet? Yeah, I did. You're out, sort of deal. And then the next episode, you got a great episode with out of the blue. Who would have thought Book of Boba Fett was like, oh yeah, we're going to see Luke train Grogu? Like, well, excuse me,
Right.
what?
And Ahsoka show up too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And it was
that was out of nowhere.
Yeah. What a wild episode. It was a great episode, but
It was.
I couldn't. It was just so
One
weird
of
to
the-
me the whole time. I'm sorry, Derek, but it was just so weird to me.
No,
that,
I get
like,
it.
we're in the Book of Boba Fett, right? And then Luke's training Grogu, and Mandalorian's out building a ship. And I'm just like, I mean, I get it that they're like building like a big picture thing, and they're gonna do this thing, but man,
Yeah.
it did take me out of it a little bit, because I thought I was getting a show like Mandalorian with instead, but it was Boba Fett. But instead,
Mhm.
I think we got, just like Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah.
It does feel like 2.5. It just feels like a bridge between season 2 and 3. And I'm curious if that's really how it's going to be. I mean, maybe it was meant to be that way, and our expectations were not what they had envisioned, right? I mean, that's totally plausible that like our expectations weren't what they have in mind for the bigger picture. We don't know how this is going to fit in long term.
Sure.
I think for me, the reason why the Mandalorian was so amazing and his episodes were so great in this season is that him as a character, he's blank slate. Like, they are building him up. Like, Boba Fett has a lot of cult following, a lot of fans like service stuff that people are expecting. And so when we don't see that type of thing, or he only had like, I think, 6 to 10 minutes in all the original movies. He's got a lot of this like extended universe stuff that's not canon with comic books. And books.
Yeah, it's about how much time he had in his show.
Right. Yeah, it's about the same, right?
Maybe that's what they were going for. Just the same. Like, we'll give him like 6 minutes in his own show.
Right. But I think like it's harder, and I think we're a little harsher because like we have things that we're expecting from Boba, whereas
Sure.
Mandalorian, he does what he wants. Like, I mean, there's a whole like, we don't know. I mean, the Mandalorian is a new character to us.
It is that.
You
I
know?
get you. How about you, Marty? Where were you? What are you feeling?
So yeah, it was funny watching the. I was also pulled out of the whole episode with Luke and Grogu, because as I was watching with my wife, I thought this is amazing, but I kept feeling like, but this is supposed to be Book of Boba Fett. I almost wish that before season 3 ever aired, it's like they dropped these 2 episodes. It's like a prologue to season 3, which I think
Mhm.
would have been amazing. And instead, give 2 episodes back to, Cad Bane or something like that, and give Boba Fett more screen time in those 2 episodes instead of Mandalorian, even though I thought those were the best ones of them all. And to me, when you get to the finale, so here's the deal. All right, so I watched the finale night it came out. All my friends were just like going crazy over it. Loved it. I thought, oh, you know what? I must have missed something. So today I rewatched the entire finale. I didn't miss anything. So, here's the thing: is to me, I felt like I love John Favreau as a writer, but I felt like they kind of wrote themselves in a corner, and they had 1 hour to get themselves out of it. They had
Mhm.
to tie everything up really quick and
I
go,
mean, that's true. Yeah.
"You got it."
I well, go on, Nick. Did you have Nick? You were. I
No,
think you were about to say something.
I was right with Marty. Like,
Yeah.
it just didn't land for me. And those two Mandalorian episodes just really sharpened the contrast of how much more I liked that set of characters,
Me
and
too.
honestly, how much better written and better directed those episodes were. Marty, you talked about they tried to do too much together. Like that final episode, there's like 5 minutes of Fennec Shand exposition, right? She's just literally narrating the
Yeah.
entire events of what's
Yeah.
going on. Like, you could have given us like a quick montage or something, but they just tried to like rush everything through, get everything together. And in the finale, even a lot of that, there were some really cool moments, like the Rancor, but all the characters had like just this incredible plot armor. Like that stone wall they hid behind was like resistant to like tanks, like robot tanks. And like I was just like, this is too much plot armor. And I really hated the mods. Like every time they're on screen,
The
I was
mods
like,
are terrible.
yeah, I
That
just got mad. And Thundercat, like his music is cool, but like it just took me out of it. Like, is Thundercat like Star Wars canon now? Because they're actually playing his music every time he shows up too. It's like,
who is
come
that?
on.
Which character were you talking about?
He's the cyborg doctor.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't even know what his name was.
Yeah.
I hated the mods so much. I thought that they were completely out of place. And even if you want to argue the fact of them being in place, like, what you want to defend their colored scooters, you want to defend, like, all right, couple things. One, I don't think none of them were acted well. Like, honest, like on a show level, like they kind of like their performances pulled me out of it. Like, I didn't think they were like they just didn't fit the story. I didn't think they looked like cool as bounty hunters or whatever kind of group they are. Wouldn't it have been cooler if that group was just Bosk and IG-88 and like a set of other bounty hunters
Dengar, yeah.
that like he had found?
Gengar,
Yeah, they like bring those guys. Gengar,
Yeah.
Dengar, not
Dengar, yeah.
Gengar.
Gengar would have been a pretty cool crossover.
The
though.
Pokemon. This is not Pokemon. Yeah. But bringing them back and maybe making them along with, like, because the Gamorrean guards were cool, but at least I don't know, this set of
I like them way better than the mods.
Yeah, and then what happened to the Gamorrean guards?
Yeah, they fell off
Yeah.
screen.
Maybe they can
And-
fly.
Yeah, it was essentially overall big picture for me is that I think, and I kind of looking back on it, I do think there was actually, of the 7 episodes, more things I liked than not. But that's because there were 2 full episodes of The Mandalorian in there. Episode 2 is still amazing. Like
episode 2 was
the
great.
Tusken Raider train heist was really, really good. I did enjoy the finale. I thought the finale was really good. I mean, Boba Fett on a Rancor, that's all I needed. Like, to be honest, they gave that. I was like, oh man, this is good enough. But then the scooters were also flying around. I'm just like, stop. But regardless, why did Luke send Grogu back just on his own? Actually, he could have came back with him. He's just like, that was kind of like,
Luke was ticked off because he didn't pick him.
Probably.
Yes, yeah,
He's
like
I'm done with
that's
you.
so
R2, take him
weird.
away.
But regardless, yeah, I feel like I actually did like the series after it's all said and I look back on it, because there was more that I liked that I didn't like. But the parts I didn't like, I hated. Like, I thought there were really parts that the fact that they killed the Tusken, like, I loved his backstory. I loved
Right.
all the
And
stuff.
it didn't make any sense to me why they killed all
Marty.
the Tuskens.
Thank you. So, Derek, I don't understand the whole backstory now of the Tusken Raiders. To me, there was no payoff.
There's
He
no
went and
payoff.
killed the biker squad. It
Right.
wasn't them. It was the Pikes. And then Boba.
And then
didn't
Boba's not even the one that killed all the Pikes.
I just like.
Yeah.
It was
I
Fennec
felt
Shand that went and murdered them all.
I felt like that whole backstory was totally wasted in the finale. I'm like, here's a chance you could have had him. It's like you killed. I found out you killed the Tuskens and like took them out, and it's like, nope. Finnick, you go do it. You save me all the time. You just continue doing that.
Yeah. I think, also this could have been maybe perceived a little differently if they did it in chapters. I think I've said this, I've at least mentioned it to you guys before, where it was called the Book of Boba Fett, and it was just like each episode was its own story in its episode, and it didn't relate to them. It didn't have to tie together. It was just, if episode 2 was just the episode 2 and we knew that that's where it was going to end, I feel like it would have been better, like almost like Star Wars Visions, right? Where it's
Right.
just all these different little mini stories
Self-contained. Yeah.
around you know, the book. It could have still been called Book of Boba Fett if they, because it still kind of all pertained to Boba Fett's story. But the Mandalorian episodes, I don't really feel like tied in any Boba. I mean, they did it at the end, right? The payoff was there when he kind of came back, but I don't know. That was just an idea in my head of, how maybe it could have been more palatable, if you will, right?
Apologize. We lost Nick. Technical difficulties. We're back.
And I just wanted to follow up on something that Marty mentioned where, you said Grogu didn't pick Luke, right? And that referenced that little object picking ceremony that he had Grogu do, which is, inspired by Asian culture. And I just thought it was kind of cool because if you go back to the original Star Wars mythology, Jedi had very strong Asian influence, right? And that was a big thing. Like when a kid turns 1 year old in Asian countries, you give them a bunch of objects, right? And you let the baby pick one. And that kind of highlights how they're, it's supposedly that's how their life's going to turn out. That's a career they're going to go into. So it was cool that they showed something like that, and it was even on like a red mat, like right around the Lunar New Year. So it was just like a interesting timing. So it was just a cool touch.
So there's something else that bothered me about the whole Tusken thing too. So this was supposedly where Boba goes from being ruthless to like, I want respect. I want to rule with respect. How many times that come back and bite him in the butt? I mean, basically has this meeting with everybody and says, look, all I ask is don't go against me. Please just don't pick their side. And every single one of them did it. And then what was it, Nick? Was it you said? And then in the line, Mando says, it's like, well, that was the smart play for them.
Yeah,
right.
And even Boba replied, yeah, it was.
It was. Well, then, if it was the smart play, why even offer that to them? I just didn't get that.
I think that keeps coming back to the fact of I was never once invested or enjoyed the current timeline, right? Like everything I really enjoyed about the show outside of the finale, because I thought that I did like the finale. Just his current timeline wasn't interesting to me on all aspects. Him wanting to rule with respect, him running around with his helmet off, him just wandering around this weird town that was like barely anyone in it, but like it just didn't even what's the Black Chewbacca's name? Black
Santo.
I just Santo.
Santo, that works. Yeah.
Santo.
That's easy to say.
It's Chris Santon, but Boba Fett called him Santo. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like he was okay. Like I don't know. I like none of the like I thought all my favorite parts of the show were like the flashbacks when he was with the Tuskens, until they killed them all off and then never revisited that. And the Mando stuff. And so like I said, that's why I was like, that's what I was enjoying out of it. All the modern stuff, I was just like current timeline stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But then he gets to ride a Rancor and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So Derek, the first time we talked, I think you probably scored it better than what we did. So, what's your final thoughts in the series? I mean, did it keep you? Obviously, 5 and 6 were. What did you think of the finale overall?
I liked the finale. I agree with a lot of what you've said, and I agree overall. Like, I mean, with him riding the Rancor, that was cool. We kind of were hoping that was going to happen when he said, "Oh, I've ridden larger or bigger beasts or whatever." So I was kind of hoping that would happen, and it did. I liked like those big droids, reminded me of the episode 1 droids. Those roller droids,
like giant Dodecas.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of like some cool stuff happening in the finale. Like I said, Cad Bane to me, from somebody who's watched Rebels and Clone Wars, like that was icing on the cake for someone that's been invested in all of that history. I think overall, I agree that Boba's current timeline is a little weird. It feels like they've tried to put him into like a weird Godfather role where he's like the head and you're going to rule with respect. And now Finnick is the muscle doing all the cool stuff. And Boba's just not. Like he can use force if he needs to, but he's not really. So it's kind of it's a weird shift because that's all we had thought of him as, like a ruthless, merciless bounty hunter. So it's just kind of something that is gonna see how it pans out. I don't know, right? I am really happy that Timothy Oliphant is still alive, even though they are going to turn him into a mod. I'm sorry, Matt. Maybe he's gonna have
I
a
don't
really
hate
cool, like, maybe
all
he's gonna have
mods.
a, he's
I
gonna have a
don't.
black Vespa. It's cool, man. He's gonna have his own.
I just.
Oh, Derek, you got on a Mod Squad T-shirt, don't you? With all
No,
the
I
Vespas
don't.
right there.
No.
If we get Star Wars Justified out of it, I'll be pretty happy.
No.
People were
Yeah,
calling this
I'm excited.
Star Wars Spy Kids because
Oh, yeah,
Robert
yeah.
Rodriguez.
Okay, can we talk about that? Isn't it funny how what we thought was probably the weakest episodes were all the ones directed by Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is
it's
true.
100% that's what it was. Like it
Yeah.
was his episodes that were the ones that felt really weird.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who came from El Mariachi, right? The Desperados series. Like he should know how to
Mhm.
direct like
Yeah, man,
awesome
from dusk
Western
till
courses.
dawn.
And-
From
right.
Come
Right.
on,
But it's like he forgot, right? The
It's
Spy
weird.
Kids era, yeah.
But then he started doing Spy Kids. That's what people
Yeah.
were saying. Like he started doing Spy Kids and forgot
And
how
Lava
to do
Boy and
anything
Star-
else.
Lava Girl.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Shark Boy.
exactly. And that's where the Spy Kids thing comes from.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
go on, Derek.
I was just gonna say, the Mando episodes were incredible. Like it to me reinforced how much I love that character and that show,
Mhm.
and I am really excited for season 3.
For sure. For sure.
You know what it reinforced to me is how good of an actor Pablo Pascal is in a helmet. And I can never remember his name, but the guy who plays
Pedro
Boba
That was good, yeah.
is not very good,
Oh,
even
Trevor
without
Emerson,
his
yeah.
helmet.
So I'm telling you, I feel like we would all feel differently if he wore that helmet the whole time. Like, because how cool was
would
it
be
when he finally
interesting.
did put his helmet on at the end, and then him and Mando are flying around, he's shooting rockets out of his
Mhm.
knees. I'm like,
Yeah,
this show
that was a
didn't.
sweet fight scene.
It was a
Yes,
cool fight
It
scene.
was.
But even when he walked out of the to negotiate, he put his helmet on, right? Didn't he
Right.
talk to Cad
Yep.
Bane with his helmet
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
In the
like
fights,
800 times cooler than anything that else that he
It
said
was
the whole
menacing,
time.
right?
It was totally menacing. That's
Yeah.
what I thought I was getting for 7 episodes.
Right.
We didn't get enough Boba Fett doing cool ass Boba Fett shit in Boba Fett armor. That's all there is to it. Like that was it for me. Okay, but that's my overall take on it. Like I thought it was fine. Some episodes were super great. I was a little let down on Boba Fett's modern. I think I've already said what you guys know what I think. But Marty, how about next up? Marty, what did you think? And then we'll let Nick take us home.
Do you want to do a out of 10?
Do we want to rate it?
Do you want to give a
Sure.
numeric scale for the series?
Sure.
Man, that is so hard to
It is a tough question.
for
This is a
me.
tough
This is
question.
hard to rate.
Because it's so like if you took 5 and 6, you go 10. if you do episode 4, you're like 2.
It's more than one show. It's different shows. It's like
Yeah.
there's like 3 different shows in this thing. I think if I had to rate the entire series out of 10, I gotta say 7 out of 10. I think that's being nice.
Yeah, so for me, I would go 6 or 7, and if episodes 5 and 6 weren't in there, it'd be pretty
Yeah,
low.
right.
Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I have to go even lower because I think I have to go 5 because I really enjoyed like about half the
That's
episodes.
actually I think
Episode
that's better
2,
than I thought you were.
2, 5, and 6. Yeah, no, okay. If we didn't have episodes 5 and 6 or episode 2, I probably would have rated the series like a 2 or a 3. Like, and if there was a second season, I would be like, no. So
What's
Derek?
Derek rate it? What'd you rate it?
I was gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a masterpiece. It wasn't great. I think, Mando season 1 for me was like a 9, 9.5. So I think this falls just short of Mando season 1, but there was some really cool stuff in there.
So to me, I wish season 2 would be the Book of Fennec. I loved her character. I loved her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
oh yeah,
I thought she was
awesome,
so
yeah.
cool in that. She was cool in Mandalorian. Santo, I thought was a cool character to me. The least interesting was the lead role for me.
But it's true. You're right. Like, and that was, I think that's the whole fault of it is that he was the weakest link.
I'm hoping in the future that Boba decides not to do this whole like respect Godfather thing and gives that syndicate title of Mos Espa or whatever he's at, gives that to Timothy Oliphant.
And then just goes off.
And goes off with Mando or with
Maybe.
Fennec.
He doesn't even need to
starts
go with
doing
Mando. He
stuff.
can just go be a bounty hunter somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, just
like
go and do things.
I feel like that wouldn't make sense anymore, though. Like he threw that away pretty hard in this series.
Yeah.
Why does he have such an attachment to that place anyway? I don't know the
That's
backstory.
a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
of
think they answered it
anything.
adequately, other than like he had some ties to the Tuscan tribe.
I think as I told
I
Derek
think it was
earlier.
because the Tuscans. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another reason.
I told Derek earlier that this show made me realize I don't really care who Boba Fett is. Like I don't like this show made me real. I don't, put your helmet
Right.
back on
But the
and
character himself,
and just
yeah,
shoot stuff.
yeah.
Like, be a I liked the mystery of Boba Fett. I mean, again, I am a huge Boba Fett fan. I liked the mystery of him. I fell into that fandom a lot. I thought he was a great character. But this just didn't really like enhance that at all. I love the backstory stuff. I liked him coming out of the Sarlacc pit and learning the Tusken Raider stuff until he got his armor back. But then after that, it all went downhill for me.
So I got just one quick question. I don't know if any of y'all are big Star Wars fans, but was spice always a thing?
I kept thinking Dune. Like
I did too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize spice was a big deal in Star Wars. I was like, oh, is it from the Dune world? They're coming over
That's why I
passing
was
spice.
very confused. It's like, unless it's just always been part of the
Is
lore.
that a Clone Wars thing,
Yeah,
Derek?
it's
Do you
in
even
Clone
know?
Wars.
It's
in
Is it?
Clone
yeah,
Wars,
it is one of the smuggled goods. Like it's one of the the drugs
Okay.
or whatever. Yeah, it
Right.
is.
He just happened to pick the same thing that's in Dune, which I
That's
thought
in
was
Dune, right?
weird.
Yeah, just
The
poor
spice
timing.
must flow. And I'm like, wait, am I watching Dune? I don't even know.
All right. So remember, y'all, these are just our opinions. It's just a TV show. We just like getting together as friends and chit-chatting about it. We all still love each other. We still respect each other. And all of us are probably pretty excited to see Obi-Wan Kenobi coming out in May,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
yeah.
I think that show is going to be amazing. We might have to review every episode
We
for
might,
Obi-Wan.
depending on how that
I'm
goes.
telling you, like Obi-Wan
Yes.
is going to be much better, I hope.
Ewan McGregor is a much better actor than Tamora
Yes,
Morrison,
he
too.
is.
Well, and we have I
Well-
think we're gonna see Darth Maul. I think we're gonna see
I think so
They-
too.
You'll see
already-
Vader.
I
we
mean,
could see
Yeah,
Vader.
Hayden Christensen coming
They
back.
fight
is
already
huge.
in Rebels, though, right? So
Well, I don't know the
think
timeline there. I don't know the
Yeah.
timeline between Rebels and where this
Yeah, I don't know where
Obi-Wan
this
show's
is
gonna
gonna
pick
fall.
up.
I don't know where.
But we might see some flashback stuff like we did in Boba, right? Like we might see some
Mhm.
Clone Wars stuff that hasn't been shown in like a live action like sense, right?
That I do want to talk one quick thing before we sign off.
course,
is
yeah.
when they had that flashback of Grogu in the temple when they had Order 66,
Mhm.
that was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was a cool
was
flashback.
That was pretty cool flashback. So then you're like, oh my gosh, he was there.
How awesome would it have been if you would have seen a hooded figure as one of them and realized it would have been Anakin?
It would have been Anakin.
I was
instead of
expecting
just
it
clone
to see,
troopers.
but it wasn't there. I thought
Yeah,
that
but
was
that just reminded me of that flashback. I was like, that was pretty
They
cool.
did say they're bringing
was
Hayden
good.
Christensen back for Obi-Wan, though, so it'll be interesting to see him
That's
back in that
cool.
role.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't
Speaking
a
of
great
acting.
he wasn't a great part of the prequels, right?
That'll be exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to see what
I
the
am
Obi-Wan
too.
show is gonna look like.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've enjoyed these discussions, please give us a like, subscribe, share if you want. Derek, thank you for jumping in with us. You are now hooked in, buddy. Anytime we
I
talk
am.
Star Wars, you have to
Hey,
come in and hang
I'll
with
talk
us.
That's
Star
right.
Wars all day.
Nice.
All right, gentlemen, you have a good night. And everybody, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.